Yeah.
Hi guys, you're welcome back to my channel. My name is Stella. Alright, so kindly subscribe if you're just coming across my video for the first time so you can be a member of this family. Now let's jump right into what we have. So we're going to be making this lovely gown that you're seeing with straps. Alright, it's an off-shoulder gown with straps, and in our previous video we drafted a basic gown pattern. Okay, if you've not seen the video, I'll leave the link in the description box. So we're going to be working with this pattern and we'll proceed to alter it to an off-shoulder dress with straps. Alright, now to begin our alteration, the first thing we need is her underbust length, and it is 13.5 inches. So from the starting point, I'll come down by the 13.5 inches and I'll make a mark there. Now I'll proceed to connect it using a straight line. Alright, so that's the first alteration that we're doing, and here we have it. Alright, so we need to label it. So here is our underbust length, and we'll proceed to mark our underbust round. And the underbust round we're working with is 33 inches. So 33 inches divided by 4 will give us 8.25. Now from the center front, I'll come in by 3 inches and I'll make a mark there. And I'll move my tape to the second dart leg and I'll continue from that 3 inches to mark her 8.25 underbust round. Now her measurement is almost by the side front, so that notwithstanding, now we still mark ½ inch from the second dart leg. So in total we have 2 inches. That's what we use to tighten her underbust, and this is perfect. All right, now I will encourage you to go and see the video on how to draft off shoulder pattern. So I have 2 videos. All right, one is for method 1 and the second video is for method 2, but in this video we're going to be making use of method 1. All right, and for method 1 we'll be connecting from her neck width to her bust point. So I'll come in with my straight line and I'll draw a straight line from her neck width, okay, of 3 by 3 to her bust point. So this is the first thing. All right, now the next thing is for us to determine her cleavage line. All right, and that is simply where you want your off shoulder to start. Okay, and for my client, I'll be making use of 6 inches. So I have my tape placed on the starting point and not on the shoulder slope. My tape is on the starting point, and I'll go ahead and mark 6 inches both on the front block and on the back, because we need this cleavage line to run across the 2 blocks. All right, and I'll proceed to connect it using a straight line. Now we need to label it as our cleave line. All right, remember what I said, that is where our off shoulder is starting. Next, we need her strap to strap measurement, and to get your strap to strap, simply divide your shoulder measurement by 2 and subtract 2. We're working with a shoulder measurement of 15.5. 15.5 inches divided by 2 is 7.75. 7.75 minus 2 is 5.75. So I'll place my tape from the center front and I'll mark 5.75 inches. All right, so here we have it. Now we need to measure what we have left. Okay, so from where we marked our 5.75, you will need to measure it to your armhole or your arm side curve. All right, and I have 1.25 inches left. Now we need to divide that measurement by 2. Okay, so I'll go ahead and mark ½ inch from the center front and 0.75 from the side. So in total we have marked that 1.25 inches. Okay, now I'll proceed to connect it to the bust point. So I'll make this connection using a straight line. Now you can use a slightly curved line, but I prefer using a straight line so that when it's time to through these dart legs, it will be easier for you to fold. Okay, and here we have it. Now let's go ahead and connect our underbust tightening. Okay, so I'll come in with my curve ruler and we're going to connect. Now pay attention, because you need your curve to run along this our cleave tightening. Okay, so now I'll proceed to connect the side front. So like I said earlier, you need your curve to pass through this our cleave tightening, okay, so that the curve can be even, because you don't need that part to be pointy at all. All right, and here we have it. We have contoured our underbust. Now, the next thing we need to do is to go ahead and mark her bust span all the way to the hem of the front, okay? And the bust span we're working with is 4 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark it at the hemline, all right? And I'll connect it to her hip line, all right? So simply mark your bust span and extend it to the hem, okay? So which is what I am doing. All right, now the reason for this is that we will need to extend our underbust tightening because it's not going to hang in the air. Okay, so this is what we have. Now we will need to also mark the bust span at the back. Okay, so I'll go ahead and measure what I have on the hip line of the back, and I'll simply mark it on the hem of the back. All right, I'll also mark it on the knee line, and I'll use a straight line to connect the bust span at the back as well. All right, so here we have it. All right, now the next thing we need to do is to go ahead and extend our underbust contouring towards the hip. Okay, now this will help to give you a better flattened stomach. Okay, so I'll go ahead and extend the dart legs because obviously it will not hang in the air. Okay, so we need to extend it. Now I'll also extend the dart legs on the side, okay, the underbust tightening to the hip length. All right, now you need to blend all sharp points. Okay, these are the tiny things that contribute to a perfect fit. All right, now we need to plot our new armhole, okay, or the new arm side. That's actually the right pronunciation. So from the chest line, I'll come down by 0.9 inch. Okay, now this 0.9 inch works for everyone, all right, because I know that's the question that will be going on in your mind. It works for all body sizes. So I'll proceed to extend our armhole line down, all right, so that we can connect it to our 0.9 inch that we just marked. All right, so I'll just go ahead and connect it, and here we have it. Now we're going to use a straight line. All right, like I mentioned earlier, we are making use of method 1. Okay, so I'll use a straight line to connect to our new armhole point. Okay, and this is it. So I'll proceed to connect it. All right, and this is it. We have plotted our new arm side or the armhole, all right, for the front. Now let's move over to the back. All right, so for the back, the first thing we're doing is to extend the dart to touch our cleave line. Remember, the cleave line is where your off shoulder is starting, and for my clients, I'm making use of 6 inches. You can make use of 5 inches, it's all your choice. All right, and the next thing we're marking is our strap to strap measurement, and it's 5.75. all right, so I have my tape placed after the back tightening, all right, and not on the center back. So I'll make a mark on the 5.75, and I'll also mark ½ inch. So we're going to use this ½ inch to tighten the back. All right, now I'll proceed to extend this line downwards. Okay, so for the back, we'll want to eliminate every form of bulging. Okay, so that's where we're using extra ½ inch to tighten the back. Now from the chest line, I'll also come down by the same 0.9 inch that we came down with on the front pattern. Okay, so I'll mark the 0.9 inch from the chest line down, and I will connect it also. All right, so we're practically repeating the same thing that we did on the front. Now I will go ahead and connect our new arm side. Okay, and we're making use of a straight line also, and here we have it. Now let's go ahead and tighten the back. So we added ½ inch here, all right, and ½ inch divided by 2 will give you 0.25 each. So I'll proceed to mark 0.25 each, all right, and I will connect. Now you have 2 options to either connect this 0.25, okay, to the 1 inch that we came down with on the chest line, or you connect to your waist. It's all your choice, but I prefer to connect to my waist. All right, remember, the tiny extra allowance that we're taking here will be taken care of when it's time to add our side seams, so you don't have to worry. Okay, now we have the back contoured. All right, now let's go ahead and mark the straps because the style has a strap. Okay, so to mark your strap, the first thing I usually do is just to extend my line straight to the shoulder slope. Okay, so I'll go ahead and highlight this straight line first. Okay, so this is the first thing you will do when you need to mark your strap. Now the width of the strap is 1.5 inches. So on the cleave line, I'll go ahead and measure 1.5 inches. I'll also measure it on the shoulder slope. All right, remember the strap to strap, the strap width is 1.5 inches. Now I'll use a straight line to connect. Okay, and here we have it. But you can't leave your strap this way. If you do, the moment you wear it is going to be falling off your shoulder. So we'll go ahead and tighten the strap. And to do that, we're using 0.5 inch. So I just came down by 0.5 inch from the shoulder slope, and I'll connect it to the shoulder tip. All right. Now we're no longer making use of this tiny space on top. Okay. And I'll proceed to label. So this is my front strap. All right. Now I also like to use arrow to indicate the side that is facing the armhole. Okay, now I'll proceed to label also. So this is my SH, which is the shoulder side. Okay, and the lower part is the chest line. All right, now let's go ahead and also draft the strap for the back. So like we did in the front, we'll go ahead and extend it straight to the shoulder slope. Okay, so I'll extend it using a straight line first, and I'll proceed to mark the strap width of 1.5 inches. All right. Now I'll mark it on the cleave line. I'll also mark it on the shoulder slope, 1.5 inches strap width. And I'll come in with my straight line to connect it. Okay, just like we did in the front, we will need to tighten the back strap as well. And we're going to make use of 0.25 inch. All right, now I'll connect it to the shoulder tip. Okay, kindly pay attention to the terminologies I'm using because they are the right terms. Now we're not making use of this tiny space on top anymore. So I'll also proceed to label it. Now here is our back strap, and I'll use arrow to indicate the part that is facing the armhole. Okay, so I'll also label it. SH is for the shoulder side and CH is for the chest line side. All right, now I'll go ahead and divide these two patterns into two. Okay, but before then, let's still label the body. So this is the side front and the center front. Okay, and here's the center back and the side back. Now I'll proceed to cut the two patterns into two, which I have done. All right, so I'll keep the back aside, and so that we can focus more on the front. Okay, now the first thing we're doing is to go ahead and cut from the hem of the gown to the bust point. All right, this is so that we can close the bust dart. Okay, so I'll proceed to close the bust dart, and it's still the same process. You raise your pattern along the marked line and you rest it on the bust point line. Okay, it's that simple. All right, now I'll come in with my paper tape, okay, or with my tape, and I'll tape this down permanently. All right, now you may want to reshape the bust point if yours is a bit too pointy. All right, now let's mark the neckline. So the neck depth we're working with is 1 inch. Okay, but before I connect it, I will need to through the dart legs. All right, so I'll proceed to through the dart legs. Now it's still the same process. So I'm simply raising one of the dart legs, okay, along the marked line, and I'm resting it on the second dart leg. All right, now I'll come in with my ruler so that we can connect the 1 inch neckline. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and connect it to the cleave line. All right, and here we have it. So this is our neckline for the front. All right, and I'll go ahead and just connect all the tiny points. Okay, so we will also need to extend our strap to touch the neckline. All right, so it's just a tiny space there. Okay, so I have extended the strap to touch the neckline. Now I'll proceed to cut this out. All right, now we need to blend the side front. Okay, so after we closed the bust dart, that side was not meeting up, so I'm simply blending the side front. All right, so I'll go ahead and finish up our cutting.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we have it. I have cut out the front with this strap. All right, so I'll keep this aside and we'll look at the back pattern. So here we have it. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to tighten the waistline of the back. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and mark 1/2 inch on both sides. All right, now this will help to give you a better fitting on your back. Okay, so I just marked 1/2 inch on each of the sides. All right, and I'll go ahead and connect from the side back to the center back. Okay, so I'm connecting from the side back to the 1/2 inch that I marked on both sides of the center back. All right, and here we have it. Now I'll go ahead and just shade off that side, okay, because we will be closing it. All right, now we're not going to be cutting it out, but we will close it. So to close it is still the same method. I'll raise the pattern paper along one of the dart legs there, okay, and I will place it on the second dart leg. All right, it's still the same process that we've been using to close all our darts. Okay, so now while doing this, you need to ensure that the lower part of this gown block, okay, is in place, that is not folded at all. Now this is the way it was, okay, and this is the way it's going to be. So I'll come in with my paper tape and we'll tape this down permanently. All right, so here we have it. I have closed it. Okay, now we will proceed to mark our back neckline. So from the cleave line, I'm also coming down by 1 inch. All right, so I will try and close the darts, all right, so that we can connect to the back neckline. Okay, so just try and close your darts a little bit and you will connect your neckline. Okay, and this is it. I have done it. Now the moment you connect your back neckline, you will need to extend your back strap to touch the neckline. Okay, so we will be cutting off this dart. All right, so I'll proceed to cut. All right, so here we have it. I'm done cutting out the back pattern. All right, so I'll keep this aside and I'll bring the front pattern as well. All right, so that we can look at it. So here we have it. We have the back and the front. Now let's try and through the side front and the side back. Okay, so simply I'm trying to match up the two patterns to see if it is equal. Okay, now can you see that all the lines are the same? The waist length, the underbust point, okay, the hip length and the knee, they are all the same. Now this is one of the ways for you to ensure that your pattern is equal. Okay, so now here's the fabric that we are working with. Okay, so here's the Ankara fabric, the interfacing, the bra cup, the lining and the zip. So I'll go ahead and transfer all our patterns to the fabric and the lining. Okay, and I'll iron down the interfacing. All right, and here we have it. I have transferred our pattern to the fabric and the lining. So now you need to notch all your points and this will guide you when it's time for you to do your final shaping. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the front fabric, and here we have it. Now I added 2.5 inches side seam allowance to this pattern. All right, so and I have 1/2 inch all round for joining. So I'll proceed to join fashion fabric to fashion fabric and lining to lining. I'll join the front and the back. Okay, I'll do the same thing on the back fabric as well. I'm joining fashion fabric alone and lining alone. Now I'll also go ahead and join the straps. Okay, so here is our strap. Now I cut 4 pieces of it. Okay, so we have 2 for each side. But before then, I went ahead to join our front and the back strap. So I joined it by the shoulder. Okay, now you will need to notch the front part to indicate it, because the moment you turn this, you may not recognize the side that is facing the front. Okay, so I'll go ahead and just separate the pins so that we'll look at each of the straps. All right, so I will take off my pins, and here we have it. Okay, so I have both fabric, so one will serve as the lining. All right, now I'll go ahead and stitch the sides using 1/2 inch. Now if you pay attention, you will notice that I did not add any allowance okay, at the lower part. That is because we will still take 1/2 inch from the strap. All right, so I'll go ahead and iron down my interfacing on the pattern, okay, on the fabric, sorry. Okay, so I'll iron down the interfacing on it and I will join them. I'm joining fashion fabric separate and lining separate. So but for the back joining, the very first thing we're doing is that I'll go ahead and use a loose stitch, okay, to stitch the center back. So I'll use a loose stitch to join on the center back from the cleave line to the hip length, and from the hip length I'll use a tight stitch all the way to the hem. Okay, this is our normal method of fixing zip. Then I went ahead to change our zip from the black that I earlier brought to this pink. All right, since we're working with a bright fabric. So here we have it. I have joined all the fabric. Okay, so here's the back. I have fixed this the zip. Okay, you can see that I pressed all the stitches open. All right, this is one of the secrets to a perfect fit outfit. All right, so I have all the stitch lines pressed open. Okay, so here's the back. I have also marked my shaping. Okay, and let's look at the front. So here we have it, and I have also joined all the pieces. Now I went ahead to attach my bra cups. I have a detailed video on how to do this. Okay, so I will say it again, the more you iron the better. Okay, so I've done my shaping. You can see the lines. Okay, now we will move over to the joining process. Okay, so I'll go ahead and we're going to join the front to the back. Okay, so we're starting with the fashion fabric. So I'll go ahead and join fashion fabric to fashion fabric. Okay, the front and the back together, and I'll also join the lining. Okay, so I'll place them right sides facing each other, and I will just stitch them by the sides, okay, on my shaping line. All right, and here we have it. I have joined it. You can see the shape of this fabric, the shape of the outfit is something else. Okay, I mean, if not that is for a client, I would have tried it on. Okay, but I don't do that. All right, now I have opened up our temporal stitch, okay, for the slit, and the slit length is 7 inches. All right, so this is it for the fashion fabric. Now I did the same thing on the lining, so I'll bring it for us to see. All right, and here is the lining. I've joined the sides. I'll still give it a good press again. Okay, I have also opened up the zip side, all right, and the slit area. Now let's go ahead and look at the flares, okay, or the tear. Now it's going to be a 360 degrees flare. All right, now the difference between the first layer and the second layer, I want it to be 2.75 inches. Okay, so but the first thing we're going to do is to go ahead and measure around this neckline. Now if you take a look at the design, you will see that the flare, okay, or the cape, it ran through the armhole to the other end of the zip. All right, so I will begin my measurement, okay, because I want my own cape to start after the zip. I don't want it to enter into the zip. So I'll go ahead and measure what I have. Now I'm measuring all the way to the other end of the zip. Okay, I measured including the armhole. All right, and I have a total of 47.5 inches. Okay, so I'll note this figure. All right, and we'll go ahead and begin a little calculation just so that we can get the radius and the length. All right, now we got a total of 47.5 inches. Okay, so that's our round measurement. Now we'll go ahead and divide these measurements by 6.28. Remember, I told us that it's going to be a 360 degrees flare. Okay, so I'll divide the 47.5 by 6.28, and that will give us 7.5 inches approximate. Okay, so this is the radius for the cape or the flare. Now let's look at the first tier. Okay, and the first tier or the first step is the longer length. Okay, so let's call it tier 1, which is the longer length. Now I want the length to be 8.5 inches. Okay, so that's how long I want it to be. So I'll go ahead and write it down. Now, like I said, I want the length of the first length, okay, of the first layer to be 8.5 inches. Now I'll go ahead and add half inch allowance. Okay, the allowance is for hemming, so in total that will give us 9 inches. So this is the length for the first layer, and remember I said that is the longest layer. Okay, now let's look at the second tier. All right, so the length of the first tier is 9 inches, okay, with a radius of 7.5. Now let's look at the second tier, okay, or the second layer. All right, so for the second tier, I want the length to be 5.75 inches. Okay, so I'll go ahead and write that down. Now, so the tiers also means the layers or the steps. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Now, like I said earlier, I want the length of the second layer to be 5.75 inches, which is the shorter length. All right, so I'll go ahead and add 0.5 inch hemming allowance also. So that will give me 6.25 inches. Okay, and that is the length of the second tier. Okay, so we have two lengths now. The first length is 9 inches, the second length is 6.25. So the radius also is 7.5 inches. So this is what we have. So for the first tier, which is the longer length, we have a length of 9 inches with a radius of 7.5 inches. And for the second tier, which is a shorter length, we have a length of 6.25 and a radius of 7.5 inches. Okay, so this is what we have. Now I'll go ahead and cut out my fabric with these measurements. So I'm cutting two flares now. Okay, one will have a length of 9 inches and the second one will have a length of 6.25. All right, and here we have it. I have cut them out. Okay, so here's the longer length and here is the shorter one. Now I'll first go ahead and overlock the rough edges and I'll hem it. Okay, so I'm leaving the top part. So I'll overlock and hem. All right, and we will continue. Now I also went ahead to open up one side, okay, of each of them. And here we have it. I have overlocked and I have also hemmed the lower part, okay, as you can see. So I did the same on the other flare as well. All right, now the first thing we're going to do is to go ahead and place the two of them on top of each other, and I will stitch it together so that we will have a single piece. All right, so here it is. I have done it. All right, so I've joined the two flares together. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and keep it aside. Okay, now I'll come in with the gown. All right, but before then, let's look at the straps. So I have joined our strap. I've turned it. Now you may need the pattern so that you will be able to know the side that is facing the armhole. Okay, so I notched the side that is facing the front. Okay, so that's how I'm going to place it. Now we'll come in with the cape, okay, or the flare, and we're going to be placing it. The wrong side is facing the right side of the dress, okay, and we're starting our pinning process. Now I'm pinning it after the zip. Okay, so I'll go ahead and pin it all round into the armhole, to the front neckline, all the way to the other end of the zip. Okay, just as it is on the style. All right, so I'll go ahead and pin it all the way, okay, to the other end of the zip, and we will continue. All right, so I'm done pinning the cape, Okay, now we will need to come in with the strap. Okay, so I'll go ahead and pin the strap 0.5 inch away from the armhole. All right, so now I'll go and look for the parts that I notched, which is the front side. Okay, and I'll pin it down. So we're pinning the strap on top of the flare. All right, so I'll go ahead and pin the front side to the front side of the dress. Okay, remember I said 0.5 inch away from the armhole, and I'll also pin the back strap to the back side of the dress. Okay, and I'm also going away from the armhole by 0.5 inch. Now we're going to come in with the lining. All right, because I'll use the lining to turn everything. So I'll go ahead and use the lining, okay, to turn the zip area and to turn the neckline, the armhole, everything. Okay, so I'll turn it and I'll give it a good press. Then I'll go ahead and hem the lower part. All right, and I'll show us. Now here we have it. I'm done turning. All right, so as you can see, I use the lining to turn the zip, the neckline, everywhere. Okay, now I think one of the most important things I like about this dress is the colors. The colors are they're happy colors, if there's anything like that. All right, now you can see the armhole area. It's a fully lined dress. It's fully lined. Okay, even the slit is fully lined. All right, now I'll give us an up close look into the dress. So here it is. The lining is not peeping out anywhere. Now one of the secrets is that you can make use of hemming gum as you sew, so that the moment you iron is going to stay permanently. All right, now here's the strap. The dress is lovely. Okay, the strap is just perfect on her shoulder. All right, so here's the slit. Now I'll go ahead and wear it on the mannequin for us to see. And here we have it. The fitting of this dress is it for me. Okay, the cape or the flares is lovely. The armhole is not deep, it's not revealing her bust is in any way. It's just a perfect outfit. All right, if I could share the message that she sent to me, her feedback, you will be surprised. And I wasn't that surprised because I knew it was going to fit perfectly. We did enough contouring on this dress. Okay, thank you guys for watching. Kindly subscribe to my channel if you have not. Drop your comments, your remarks in the comment section. Okay, till we meet again. Bye.